This is something that I've enjoyed this conversation when we've talked about this, about iconic versions of characters. And this is one that I think people really need to think about. What is the iconic Hot Toys Iron Man? Because there are so many good Iron Man figures. But if we have to talk about for the collector who really only wants one Iron Man, maybe they don't want 5 or 10 or 20 Iron Mans, right? There's a lot of really good ones out there. Maybe you're not Carlos and you want every Iron Man, right? Maybe you just want that one Iron Man. What is the most iconic Iron Man that exists out there? And Kiko, I want to pose this question to you. What do you think? The iconic Hot Toys Iron Man. If you had to get one version, you had to slim your Hot Toys Iron Man collection down to one Iron Man. What Iron Man is that going to be?
That's really good because you want to ask, do you want color? Do you want aesthetic? To me, I think it's still going to be the Mark 46 for me. The original Mark 46, the one that's got, the cracked chest, the bruised Tony head sculpt. I think that one is the Iron Man. I love that suit. It's aesthetically pleasing. It's in between, kind of being nanotech and being still machinery. Yeah, that's the original one right there. I think that one is awesome. The base, everything, and it's from possibly the second to third best movie in the entire MCU. I mean, Civil War was fantastic. You know how I feel about that. There's nothing better than when Bucky and Cap are jamming the shield into his chest. I mean, that's so cool. And you don't have to start a war here, Tony, and all that. And he fights Cap. It's so good. That's what this suit is. To me, it's gonna be the Mark 46, the original, because I think you need that Tony head with this one, honestly. And I have mine without the helmet on.
See, that's a tough one though, Kiko, because I'm wondering if for most iconic, do you think most people would probably say Battle Damage 85? What do you think?
I don't
if you
know
could have one Iron Man, that'd probably be the one. No?
I wouldn't say that that's the most iconic suit, though. People know the moment and they know the snap. I don't think they know what he's wearing. But if you saw this with the cracked chest piece, I think that's iconic enough to know this is Civil War. If you here you go, without the helmet on, or I'm sorry, with the helmet off, and you have the Tony face when he's snapping the Mark 85, put the actual helmet on the 85 and stand that next to the line of Iron Man. Can people pick out what movie these suits are from, essentially? And I would argue that if you were just looking at the 85, no one would know that's really the end game, unless you're a diehard, Marvel fan like we are.
Right.
No one would say, "Oh, that's the Mark 85," even with the battle damage. I don't know if anyone really could. Take away the snapping pose, obviously, because that's a moment. That's not part of the suit. Because the lobster claw hands that never showed up in the film or whatever, and they added that on there. So that doesn't really count if you ask me. So for me, the Mark 46 is the most iconic Iron Man because that is what split the Avengers at that moment.
Yeah, that's a reasonable one. Yeah, and to me, I want to raise a point, and I hope I don't steal Marco's thunder on this one, but I think there's a little bit of a wild card here that I would love to throw in the mix, and it's actually this boy right here. So the Mark 7, let me just make this point, Marco, real quick. The Mark 7 is, to me, one of the most iconic Iron Man figures ever because it is the signature suit, really, of Avengers 1. And Avengers 1, to me, is the film that I think made Marvel. I think that is the film that made Marvel what it is. Iron Man 1, of course, everyone can point to that. That's the start. Iron Man 1's fantastic. It started off the MCU. Great. But Avengers 1, I think, is where everything came together and people were like, damn, I need to start taking this shit more seriously and watch all these films because that was so good and it brought everyone together in such a fun, cohesive, engaging way. The Mark 7 is just a beautiful suit for one. And when that battle happened in Avengers 1, I don't think anyone had ever seen anything like that in film before. Everyone was like, this shit is wild. They got all these characters coming from different films, and Iron Man's flying through the sky, and then they're cutting in the same shot, and they're going to Hawk, and then they're going to Hawkeye, and it's just like so much crazy stuff going on. But man, the Mark 7 is dope. But that said, if I had to pick one, I do think it's the Battle Damage 85 because I do think ultimately, if you're looking at the overall figure in the package, it includes everything. So when I say Iron Man, I get what Kiko's saying about where he's coming from about Iron Man suit, but to me, I'm talking about Iron Man figure. What is the most iconic? And I think at the end of the day, it's got to be the Battle Damage 85. But Marco, what do you think?
At first blush, I want to say 85 as well, either battle damage or standard, right? Because you still get the gauntlet, I think, with the standard version. But I think it's got to be the Mark III. When I think about Iron Man, I think of just kind of our introduction to the most badass Iron Man. He flies overseas. my famous overseas line. You know, he does the walk away after shooting the rocket, and so like that silhouette is just so iconic to me. This is one that I don't currently plan to get, but the more I think about it, I think this is what I think of when I think about Iron Man. So yeah, I have to say the Mark III, honestly.
Yeah, the Mark III is dope. Marco, I think you need the Mark III, bro. I think I'm gonna get this.
I
I think
think
I'm
you're
gonna
right.
get
I
this.
think you're right. It's too
Dude,
good
it's so
not to
dope.
pass up.
It's $455, but the base, Marco, is
The
sick,
base is
bro.
incredible too. The Ironmonger base,
Yep.
yeah.
It's really cool, man. It's really cool. I'm on the wait list actually for the exclusive version, so I am going to get this. But I have the Mark V is another choice people would say, but I just don't think Iron Man 2 is iconic enough for the Mark V to be the answer. You know what I mean? Like the Mark V is a great suit and it's really cool looking. It has a cool moment, but most iconic, I'm not sure. Kiko has a good point about the Mark 46 because Civil War was also something that people had never seen before, right? It's something that's very unique and it's one of Marvel's best films. But when you're looking at Mark, also the Mark III, that's the real first Iron Man suit. That's the
Yeah, right.
real Iron Man suit number one. So that's the
A
OG
little hot
right
rod
there.
red in there.
There you
Exactly,
go.
exactly. But the Mark 7, yeah, I love the Mark 7.
Pretty good
So
too.
yeah, it is. So guys, great thoughts on that one. I'm really excited to see what collectors are going to say. Let us know in the comments below what you think about the iconic Iron Man suit.